Thank you so much. So I'm going to get straight into the content here. I don't want to spend too much time on introductions. We've got a combined hour fee of about 50,000 dirhams on the staging. We've got half an hour on the replay lunch. So I'm going to go to Shadha first. So Tamimi has a very strong presence here in the UAE. Can you tell me what your firm's doing with AI products and how they're responding to changes in the space?
Yeah. So, well, our firm is heavily invested in AI and latest technology, and we are using all the latest innovative products. And personally, being experienced solution lawyer, I believe that AI is really helping the team because I'm a construction arbitration lawyer, and it requires a lot of review of data and information, then documents, expert reports. So we have been capitalizing on use of softwares like the Power AI and many other software providers. Like for document review, there's relativity. So we do like kind of use that as and when needed. And it's so I feel like the teams also we train to use these AIs. We are heavily focusing on training of the team as well. Just a few days ago, before coming to this panel, we had our own training going on the use of AI. So I would say quite a lot.
Fantastic. And specifically with structural law, that's a very technical space and it moves very fast. So is there any one single product that you're using to prepare submissions or anything of that nature?
As I said, it depends on case to case basis. So there's a lot of softwares available, right? So we have softwares which are focused on document review or document discovery. So there is relativity, there is discovery AI, depending on the type of device as well. We suggest certain one. So for construction heavy disputes, we do not have any particular any software supposed to tie on construction. Say we are using more general products, but for construction, there are needs of certain AI being developed. There are certain experts, construction experts who are working on it. I recently learned about Mason AI, and they are developing one. I personally not use it, so I can't speak for it, but yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. I'm going to judge with us today as well. So, Mr. Leginsky, how do you see this play out in court? So we've obviously seen things in the media about people turning up to courts and using AI to advocate for them. What do you see?
Well, thank you very much for the question. I'm going to distinguish between arbitration, mediation, and court. Um, Arbitration is a system whereby parties agree to have their disputes determined by independent arbitrators, like myself, and they shun the courts. They say, no, we don't want to go to court. So, but it's a binding decision. It's a decision just like the courts. And in fact, it's better because of something called the New York Convention. Your arbitration award, which is a decision, can be enforced in nearly 200 countries, let's say 180 countries around the world, which is different from judgments in courts. So, in essence, it's private dispute resolution, but legally enforceable, which I think is an important distinction. Distinction from mediation as well. Mediation is where you hire a mediator like myself, to help you negotiate a settlement to your dispute, which can't be legally enforceable once it's signed. And there are provisions that have been enforced in other countries as well. So it's kind of a private dispute resolution. And what we have to know is that there are great advances, especially in UAE and in Saudi Arabia, in terms of AI assisted techniques for resolving your disputes, all the way up to something called the smart contract, where you have self executing contracts, especially in construction, where a contract can actually execute itself upon certain events occurring. And it's a contract that's on the blockchain. And there are actually dispute resolution platforms you can use on the blockchain where there are systems to resolve your disputes using juries, juries of people who have signed up to the system, and you can have a crowdsourced determination of your dispute. And these things are really starting to happen, especially get our free zone, especially in TIFC, in AVGM, and even Saudi Arabia has some good advances in those systems. So the world is wide open. I think by 2035, you're going to be able to choose to have your dispute resolved using AI, especially smaller disputes. It can be totally autonomous, totally on the blockchain. What the AI does is it can instantly, very quickly, research similar disputes, research similar good settlements, research similar decisions, and get you a decision very quickly. Of course, what's currently out there is to have an appeal to human interlocutors. So you have an original decision, perhaps an appeal, but these things go very quickly, of course, because it's computerized. And so that's the current system. So yeah, it's moving very quickly, especially in the
Human stances.
well, heard horror stories, of course, about AI assisted legal briefs where the AI has made up cases, has made up information which is untrue. And some lawyers have been caught out doing that. But it's just a matter of improving and improving and improving. I say by 8 years, let's say, it should be improved enough to have that issue done with. The other one is hacking, of course. If you're on a blockchain, theoretically it's fairly safe. If you're not on the blockchain, then theoretically you can be hacking into platforms and perhaps some kind of interference with the proper information on the platform. So data security, I think if anybody here's a data security expert, I think it's your time to make sure that everything is safe that we have before us.
Thanks so much. And looking to now, I had your own practice here in the UAE. Tell me about full usage of AI technology. They can just gather.
Well, thank you very much for bringing all of us here to talk about our experiences. This is amazing. Um, Whenever I speak about AI, everybody talks about that the future is here and the future, really think the future, and because of what the technology can do and what the capabilities of the AI. If I keep repeating that, you become very redundant. Look at the previous family of intelligence minds. I've said enough. In my opinion, the future of AI is when people are able to use it. People know how to use it. So it doesn't matter how the technology or what the technology can do, because it can do amazing stuff, but people are not using it, makes no sense. And I think what we have done is to start from the top down. You start to teach your Mathew partners on the head of departments what can the AI do and what can you personally do. Do you know the ChatGPT line the travel from plan your weekend? Good. That's a very good step. Then take them to the due diligence platform. And then we take them to the research platform and tell them experience or experiment what AI can do. And the moment they learn it, this is the start, not the moment when the AI technology, software, and systems after succeeded in doing this. It's a matter of what the after the root. It matters how we can use the technology. That's what we are starting to do right now. Is that we're pushing people to learn and to use it, even on a very small scale. And we don't very well at the moment. Can you really be able to use it? That is when the future stopped. It's exactly like it's started the internet, you know.
When you see like on clients from so you can't with ChatGPT and you see that like formatted and like for data like
We did a whole we did a whole presentation on how to speak to ChatGPT in, without revealing client data and without jeopardizing on security or like the data privacy for the clients. Use it. How
in order to stay safe. Thanks so much.
Good afternoon, audience. If you don't mind, I would appreciate if you kindly be seated at your tables. This is a very important panel discussion. With all due respect to the value of the panelists, their time, and the moderating views. Thank you.
Thanks for that. Better taskmaster than I am. So, Mr. Matthew, tell me about how you're seeing AI. Yeah, but also give us insight and also AI in the East. So, how is it basically changing?
Firstly, let me thank Madam and this group for this. AI, because we see even other industries have been rapidly growing in the legal industry. And the law firms in the region have been good to adapt and embrace what has been the new legal tech tools which has come into play. So as a lawyer practicing in the corporate and the commercial space, we have seen a lot of AI tools which have come and which have actually helped the law firms to better serve our clients. One is the speed in which we could provide the service. Second would be with the level of clarity performance that we could provide the service. So it is highly commendable and then recommended to use the AI tools, but with certain caveats that we need to really look into. Because it can spring out surprises, it can give answers which are incorrect. So therefore, thought and due diligence need to be given as to what it provides. So that is where scrutiny we are doing it. Our lawyers need to really now do certain research on what we get through these tools because it has been rapidly evolving. So rapidly evolving also means that it could bring out surprises. So we need to be on our toes. So we need to be educated. So that is what our law firm does. We educate our lawyers, the partners, as to what we should first consider when something comes out of the AI tool. How we should refile and then use it to the best advantage. Looking at what the right is and then provide it to our clients.
Thanks so much. So, you're a corporate lawyer like me, so we spend most of our time drafting contracts, doing deals. We already see in this region that blockchain is being used to property ownership, transfer of property, and creating ownership. And just now, it creates really safety and efficiency in that space. You see when we get to the corporate space, which is obviously much more fragmented and diverse, complex. Do you see technologies like this into the as well?
Absolutely, yes. We see a lot of technology coming into the legal space, especially in legal making activities. Those routine works which earlier the lower level lawyers used to do is now being taken over by AI. But then that is where upskilling of the present staff is required. Education is required. And then as law firms, we need to see how we used to build traditionally in the billable hours, how it is being transformed now. Because the earlier, if we could build at the billable hours, it took us more time. Now it doesn't take us that time. But how does investments into AI and the billable hours with the kind of speed that we can deliver it, how that correlate now? So there are certain ways now where the law firms need to transform, think in a different way. As my esteemed journalist during the panelist during the last panel discussion said, we now need to put on the thinking hat. So that is where we are presently with the technology transforming every industry.
Thanks so much. Moving on to Abduraheem, if you could give us some insights as to how AI is shaping the industry across the world, and then if you could bring your answer back into the speech based on
Thank you so much for having me this panel.
I think I'm the only one in this panel looking at things from an in-house perspective. Because there is a common, consensus among the lawyers that is it really affecting the billable hours of the law firm and lawyers. But definitely, though I'm a lawyer from outside perspective, but I'm a client for the pro-panel lawyers from their eyes. So looking from that angle, AI is really changing a lot of things. But in my opinion, making the things very, very simple. What the AI do is simply like a smart intern or a very super smart junior lawyer. And it always requires, I'm not saying my supervision, but I would say a kind of third party practice oriented and theoretically strong supervision. Because when we look globally, how the legal profession is shaping today is AI has been extensively used for the research and due diligence and legal assistance and well, in a more sense for the legislative process as well. Because it is very easy when we look at some software and to find a best practice principle. And it's very easy to use the AI things and to understand what's happening globally. But the main challenge here is when we use any kind of software, we miss a lot of things. Because being someone who has been in the legal industry last 15 years, I have seen, or we have all have seen that how the things work, what we were doing at the junior level for 15 years. If you want to find a res judicata or any kind of legal principle, we look into a lot of case laws. If you want to find a best practice principle, which has happened with them and globally, we look into a lot of research and we find, an apt point. That can be done using the AI tools within 5 minutes. But here, what is the problem here? Because from the common man's angle, because when I sit in a house, I'm not only a lawyer, I'm a businessman. Because my core responsibility is my firm to make sure things are being done in a least cost effective way. The problem here, what I found is when we do a research using the tools is we miss a lot of points which gradually give a legal insight from a very practical point. So that is one thing. Second thing is when we do a lot of even as we competitors, we talk about dispute resolution using the AI tools is we look, in this lot of practical insight. For example, we got an award. How about the implementation of it? What if the local courts say tomorrow, no, we don't recognize? Like, take the example of China. They don't recognize the ad hoc arbitration. So and then number of examples my panelists can put forward and tell you what is the main challenge. But globally, what we see is it is being extensively used. That is the proof that the council has reported that more than 80% of the lawyers agree that their profession is going to be, is going through a transformational stage, and a new impact will be created through it. But however, it is not at all going to take away the space of lawyers. But when we look from the regional policy, we can see, I think that the government is forefront of this whole development. Yes, let's look from a pre-corona perspective. What was happening? There was a lot of digital things that were implemented in the court procedure, the hearing, virtual hearing, an easy dispute resolution mechanism, and the pulse of the legal community to support that was not as expected. And especially in UAE and Saudi Arabia, when the government introduced a lot of digitally enabled softwares to execute the documents and to continue the legal process. And it's like a switch into the corona, everything in the very right way, and the result was produced. Now, I could see that in UAE, more than 90% of the legal work has been done online. And complete not only notarization procedure is online. And I think no other development you can see other than the UAE. Even if you take the example of highly developed the legal system, still they will ask you to come before the Republic and say, look, but when you look at that locally, there's a lot of huge development in this. However, whatsoever this technology is improved and developed, when we look at very practical sense, it all adds an element of standalone capacity. Because what all AI tool you have, what all software you have, but if you don't have that supervision model that is 100% to be done by AI, locally, as I said initially, theoretically or practically for law firm or law officer, it is not. It will end up in a situation that the law firms will have no work when it comes to the dispute issue or any other enforcement issues.
Thanks so much. Shadha, and perhaps maybe tell me how is training of new lawyers going? How are we changing things? Because it seems to me that we're getting less private skill now. And the way I understand it, to emulate senior lawyers and to go on a journey of learning my craft and making mistakes. How does that play out a little bit?
Yes, training, and I think it's more important for the junior lawyers or you can say trained lawyers to now fully make use of the AI tools. As I said, we do have AI tools. There's a range of tasks that can be made efficient by their use. So I think in terms of training, what trainings are going on that can help you understand how the product works or how to use it. But I think training component should also now include how to ethically use it, because it's all about we know that AI is making us more efficient, it's useful, but it's about where AI ends and where the human begins. So that part of the training, I think, should be drilled down. You have to get a generation because they're grown into this system, and for them it could be, there's AI and you can do it. Even sometimes you can hear lawyers say that, but it's easy. You can just put it in the ChatGPT and you can find out. So I think the training should also focus on the ethical side, and this is what we really focus on in our firm. So the training components will talk about ethics, about confidentiality, about data privacy. So those are the important elements, and using AI. Now there are like agentic AIs which are like running in the background. Honestly, we don't know. So there are all the trails that need to be in place now. I don't know to what extent the software are using that, but as a lawyer or as a human, finding these search if it prompts, we are the ones who can keep track of what exactly we are the entry system, the input that we're giving, and keep checks on what output we're getting. When we talk about judges, using AI, and now there's a talk about, I think, in America, they are like launching an AI arbitrator, and Mr. Leginsky was there, then I can speak more to the well-known arbitrator in the region. So even the use of the judges are using it right now, but then the guardrails have been put in place. So I think in terms of training for not just lawyers but also judges, because in our firm there are many lawyers who will be sitting as arbitrators too. So that kind of training can also be looked into, and we do focus on that as well. So now recently I think there was a case in the US where where an arbitrator used AI to write law his own, and it's now being challenged by the party, saying that it betrays their expectation of having a different judgment from a human arbitrator. So these are the components that we have to think about, and the training aspects ranges not just from juniors but senior lawyers, but also judges and arbitrators too.
So that's our 5-minute warning. What I'm going to do now is we just conclude from this end over here and work our way back. I'm the managing director of the full service on the law firm here as well. My son is in the audience today. He's 17 going to be here next month. I spent 15 years becoming the profession that I am today, and my plan was certainly for my son to come into this profession. But now I'm wondering, do I have a job in 2030? And does my son have a future in law? So if we could each take 60 seconds and answer that question, I'll take us quite nicely to the end of this conversation.
I have good news. So your son is gonna have an amazing job, and he's gonna enjoy his life much more than you did, because he's gonna have a lot more time to be innovative and creative and do a lot of stuff. And I will try to say something very small here. I am a managing partner with 20 staff. I am the founder of Emirates Legal Network, more than 600 members, and I've interviewed in a year and a half more than 62 lawyers in a podcast, and I'm running a legal blog. I would have never done this the last 2 years without the use of AI.
I agree. For all the sons and daughters out there, or people who have sons and daughters who want to go into the legal profession, I think it's going to be amazing. Talking more about commercial and business lawyers rather than family or wills and estates lawyers. For business lawyers, I think it's going to be amazing because businesses always have conflict, they always have disputes. And it's going to be very much more easy to resolve disputes in the future because there's going to be so many platforms. One downside, each of you, each of us, has to look at all our contracts and make sure we read the dispute resolution clause and see exactly how our disputes are going to be resolved and actually take part in choosing that. We can choose to have a more modern means of dispute resolution. Even courts today, they may have a technology branch, technology bench that can help you resolve your dispute. So each of us has a responsibility for ourselves and for our children and our future to look at how disputes should be resolved. How much AI is going to be used? Will there be software deciding our dispute? There's nothing wrong with that. As long as the training of the people and the training of the system is up to scratch. So I think the future is very bright, especially for business, because disputes can be resolved much more economically and quicker than they are today.
Yeah, in terms of future generation coming into this field, I am also quite hopeful that the human element will come at the forefront. In fact, because people will be looking to have that in place. Because when we talk about justice system, we are all legal professionals. Justice system is not just about outcomes. It's about fairness and principles of justice and consciousness. And these are deeply innate to humans. So I think this is used for humans to excel where they excel best, which is being human.
I think your son can start as like a smart intern, and because I believe that the agent monitor AI things, especially because the AI things want to dominate in the market anyway, because technology has to show that it is about everything. So agency monitored AI system will give a lot of opportunity for your son at the starting level. Thank you. Certain human qualities cannot be replicated by AI. Empathy, emotional intelligence, critical thinking, connect between people on a one-to-one basis. So as long as these cannot be replicated, obviously there is no possibility of any jobs being taken away by AI tools. So it is only an adjustment that we need to take. We need to see it as wherein we augment our skill sets and we move forward, understanding the technological advances, embracing those technological advances, and use it for the benefit of us and for the humanity as a whole.
Thanks so much. So I'm relieved, very positive and hopeful answers. And I think that brings us to the end of this discussion. But it is, of course, an ongoing discussion. I'm speaking for everybody on stage. We're very grateful to you for observing this conversation and to connect with us all here, the lawyers that are very much involved in the AI revolution here in the region. So thank you.